Hi guys, Brian here with a recap of everything that just happened at Extreme Rules. The pay-per-view itself was actually pretty good. There was a couple of matches that were a little bit meh, but there was no matches that were actually particularly bad. But with that being said, let us get into the actual matches. Now we start off on the kickoff show, and the first match that we saw on there was Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura for the Intercontinental Championship. Now, considering we hadn't heard much about this beforehand, I feel like just chucking it in last minute kind of drew back from it a little. But the match itself, it was nothing to really rave about, but it was a decent match. I like the fact that they're pushing Nakamura again, they're getting a little bit more heat behind Nakamura, because it just seemed like they were doing nothing with him. He was getting no screen time, he was just there, and it was kind of annoying. Because this is Shinsuke Nakamura, he is one of the best wrestlers in the company, and to see him being treated like that was kind of shit. But he actually had a bit of a storyline going into this. No much one, it was kind of built really quick, but it was something. We got to see them hitting some of the best moves, like Nakamura hitting that sliding German suplex. We got to see Finn Balor going for the coup de grace, but Nakamura would essentially avoid getting hit by it. I would say that considering the caliber of both superstars, this match could have been a lot better. That's the big takeaway for me on this. The match could have been so much better. But it did eventually finish with Nakamura hitting the Kinshasa to pick up the 1-2-3. Bit of a rushed thing in my opinion, but it was still pretty decent. It's the first one that it wasn't a bad match, but it wasn't really anything to write home about. The next match that we saw was for the Cruiserweight Championship, and this was between Drew Gulak and Tony Nese. Right, this match, if I was comparing it to the previous Cruiserweight matches that we've saw, I would say it's a bad match. It didn't really have that impact that we've saw for the previous bouts in the Cruiserweight division when it comes to that championship. I mean, I know it's the kickoff show, and it's kind of annoying to always see the Cruiserweights on the kickoff show, but this one I could kind of understand why, because the match didn't really sell the best. I mean, we did see some big spots in the match, but big spots, they're interesting in a match, but they don't really make the match. We did eventually see Gulak pick up the victory, hitting a powerbomb followed by the Cyclone Crash to pick up the 1-2-3. Really disappointed in this one. It's a Cruiserweight match. They've paid off well in the past. This one didn't for me. Then we move on to the main card, and the first match that we saw there was Roman Reigns and The Undertaker versus Shane O'Mac and Drew McIntyre. Now with this match I am thoroughly happy. I expected to feel a lot of disappointment in this match because, well, we know The Undertaker hasn't really been doing well lately. The match with Goldberg, such a sad match. The match against DX, that match was underwhelming. It's one of them. The Undertaker's kind of fell off the radar. But in this match, it really showed that The Undertaker has still got something. Don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say that it's one of The Undertaker's best matches ever. But it really did show that he has still got something in him and he can still put on a really good match. One of the big spots that we saw was The Undertaker setting up to put Shane through the table with a powerbomb, but Elias ran in and clocked him with a guitar, and then that would be followed up by Drew McIntyre hitting the Claymore on Roman Reigns, and then subsequently hitting the Claymore onto The Undertaker. I liked the little, it was just a continuous thing, it felt really good in that. And then that did end up leading to The Undertaker being put through the announcer's table with one of those patented elbow drops from Shane right through the announcer's table. It's one of them, you see it so much that it does start to become repetitive, but Shane does get some good distance on it, so it is still exciting to see. And towards the end of the match, we saw The Undertaker hit a chokeslam on Shane, then hit a chokeslam onto Elias, and then we saw him in the middle of the ring with Drew McIntyre re-entering the ring. At this point I thought, yes, this is it, McIntyre's getting the win. But no, he gets blasted with a spear from Roman Reigns, and then The Undertaker would hit the tombstone onto Shane McMahon and pick up the 1-2-3. The winners of this match Roman and The Undertaker. Like I say, very good match. If anything, the best part about it is just that it shows that The Undertaker isn't done. The next matchup that we saw was The Revival versus The Usos. Again, this was another match that was really good, and it's good to have that straight off the bat, have the matches that are actually building the show. Started it with real quick-paced action, but it did tend to slow down at times. It was more when The Revival were taking control that the match did tend to slow down. But that's because The Revival have actually got that more technical wrestling side. It's the whole thing where they don't do flips or anything like that. They just get into good old-fashioned wrestling. I'm really happy with this match because after everything we've seen between The Revival and the Usos, it was good just to see a classic tag team match between two of the best tag teams in the full company. We did see The Revival picking up the win, hitting Shatter Machine onto Jimmy, and picking up the 1, 2, 3. So still your Raw Tag Team Champions, The Revival. The next matchup that we saw was Aleister Black versus Cesaro. Again, another really good match. To be fair, these are two incredible athletes. We got to see a lot of great moments in this match. I thoroughly enjoyed Cesaro mocking Aleister Black by doing his little sit down. Literally, straight in the beginning of the match. Just the mind games from Cesaro, just to get the whole ball rolling in this. That was followed up by Aleister Black hitting a moonsault on the outside of the ring and then doing the sit down himself. I like that, it's the little back and forth moments. Cesaro, the amount of uppercuts in this match, and every single one of them was landed with precision. I do not think there is a better person in the business who utilises the uppercut as well as Cesaro does. Towards the end of the match, we did see Cesaro try to go for the neutralizer, but that would be countered into a black mass, and Aleister Black would pick up the 1, 2, 3. Thoroughly enjoyed this. I think it was a brilliant debut for Aleister Black, and it was great to get him that first initial win and try to build a strong Aleister Black from this, while also showcasing just how good Cesaro is. So both men really did benefit from this match. The next match that we saw was for the SmackDown Women's Championship. This was between Bayley against Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Now the action itself, like, there's nothing to really grumble at here. It was another one of them. It was essentially a decent match. Like, I like the fact that they were having Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross taking full advantage of the match, tagging in constantly, tagging in and out, so they were keeping each other fresh and trying to avoid getting hit with the biggest moves and things like that. So, aye, that really played well. Bayley being able to overcome and actually take advantage for parts of the match, take full control over it, I feel like that really worked. Having Alexa come in and actually break up submissions and things when Nikki Cross was put into a submission, really enjoyed that. The one thing that kind of took away from it was the end of the match. The match would finish with Alexa Bliss trying to go for the Twisted Bliss, Bayley got her knees up, Nikki Cross got herself tagged into the match, then she got hit with a knee before being hit with the elbow drop for the 1, 2, 3. And that was it. That's the problem here. I think the fans were expecting a lot. Like, we were either expecting for Sasha to make a return, or for Bliss to turn on Nikki, or for Nikki to even turn on Bliss, or just some sort of heelish tactic, or some sort of like storyline progression, but nothing happened. The match ended with Bayley picking up the victory and Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross consoling each other like friends. So it was kind of anticlimactic, but the match itself was, like I say, it was really good because it played to the actual 2-on-1. It's a 70-30 sort of feeling. 70% I'm like really happy with it, 30% I'm like, how come nothing really happened? The next match that we saw was Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley in a last man standing match. This was the match, going into it I was like, it could actually be good. And to be fair, it paid off in my opinion. Like, we saw a lot of action, like them going into the crowd, going into the concession stand, twatting each other against walls, hitting each other with weapons. it would end up back in the ring and then lead back into the fans. We saw a barricade get broken. We saw like a fan getting pushed. Obviously, the fan was put there, but we saw fans getting pushed and things like that. So, in my opinion, it did really pay off. Now, it was actually Strowman who eventually won the match, getting Bobby Lashley down for the 10 count by power slamming him through this box thing. I don't know what it is, I'm just calling it the box thing. Lashley could not make it up for the 10 count, but we did see Braun Strowman just bursting through it like some sort of fucking uncaged animal. I liked it. It plays to the whole monster of Braun Strowman, and it really did push for what's it going to take to keep these men down, because it took a lot to actually put Bobby down. Thoroughly happy with this match. It could have gone very, very, very bad. So the next match that we actually saw was for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. This was a triple threat tag team match between the New Day, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, and Heavy Machinery. Now again, this is another one of these matches that it just worked. Heavy Machinery have been putting on a great showing ever since this rivalry with Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan actually started. His name's not Eric Rowan, it's Rowan. You know what, I am keeping this in because 3, maybe even 4 times I almost said Rowan and Harper. Some of the spots in this match, we saw what looked like Otis was going to go for a tope suicida. Just from his stop at the ropes, step through and then just jump off. I like that. It was a funny little moment with an actual spot in it, so it was great. And then Tucker Knight following that up by hitting a really good crossbody. It wasn't as good as the crossbody hit in the last championship match, but it was still a good crossbody. We actually saw Heavy Machinery almost getting the pinfall win by hitting the compactor onto Big E, but Xavier Woods would break that up. Another point in the match where we thought it was actually going to end was when Heavy Machinery were going to hit this double superplex onto Rowan. Big E came in to actually do the whole big powerbomb thing, and Daniel Bryan actually tagged himself in. So I thought this was going to be the moment where Daniel Bryan came in and got the 1, 2, 3, but it turned out it wasn't. He would lock in the label lock onto Big E, but Big E would essentially break out of it. Towards the end of the match, we would see Daniel Bryan get caught by Big E, and then Big E would tag in Woods, and they would hit up, up, down, down to pick up the 1, 2, 3. And your new SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the New Day. I like it because at this point in the event, it meant that all 3 members of the New Day were champions, and you know what, I just love that. Now on to the match that I consider match of the night. This was AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the United States Championship. So before the bell even rang, the club did beat down Ricochet, so that gave Styles an edge going into the match. But one of the things that I did really like was the fact that the club didn't get involved for like basically the rest of the match up until a certain point, but basically the rest of the match they didn't get involved. It was up until they assisted AJ Styles to actually get the win, because Ricochet was almost about to claim the win. So you know, United States Champion AJ Styles, we'll get into how that happened. Another big thing that I absolutely loved in this was the fact that it was so fast paced. I mean, these guys are incredible, so for like so much of the match it was fast paced. It did slow down at times. I think it was more of a case of it was slowing down to show just how much they'd taken out of each other. One of the times that we saw the club getting involved wasn't even for a bad reason. Ricochet had got the pinfall onto AJ Styles, hitting this amazing, absolutely amazing shooting star press. You'd have to go back and watch it. It was done with such precision, it was fucking brilliant. But he did have him pinned for the 1, 2, 3, but AJ Styles' foot was under the ropes, so Carl Anderson was quick to alert the ref to what was actually going on. AJ Styles would eventually win this match, hitting a massive Styles clash off of the top turnbuckle and picking up the 1, 2, 3. It's a great way to go having AJ Styles as the champion. Hopefully keep it on him for a while. Like have the assistance from the club if you need to, but stop hot potato in this fucking championship, please. The next match was Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler. Nothing really to talk about for in terms of match-wise. I can literally tell you the full match. Ziggler slapped Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens hit a stunner and picked up the 1-2-3. That's the full match. Then what happened afterwards is Kevin Owens would take to the microphone and basically call out Shane McMahon, telling him he can kiss his ass and go to hell. I love it. Just do this as much as you can. Just give Kevin Owens the mic and just let him spout shit about fucking Shane McMahon. So the next match that we saw was Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. Another match that was really good. I think the ending might kind of let it down slightly, but not too much really. We did see a few good spots in this match. I think one of the best spots that we saw was Joe going for the 1-2-3 and then quickly rolling it into the STF when the pinfall was actually broken up. We saw Joe hitting some of his best moves like the Coquina Clutch, the Iranage. The one of the moves that I actually love from Joe is his Enziguri. I don't know, I just feel like he hits the Enziguri perfectly. We would also see Kofi hitting an SOS, which it was a decent SOS. It wasn't the best one he's ever hit, but it was a decent one. And he would also finish the match with a Trouble in Paradise to get the 1-2-3. Like I said, the problem with it really is kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. It kind of just felt like the ending was there. The match was great, like the action itself was brilliant. I felt like both superstars played off each other so well and they worked together so well in the ring, but the ending could have felt like a little bit more rather than just straight up out of nowhere. Next up, we got the Universal and Women's Championship match between Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch and Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans in an Extreme Rules winner-takes-all match. Some of the things that kind of felt a little bit weird was the fact that Lacey Evans was like doing this whole flirty thing with Seth Rollins to try to get under the skin of Becky Lynch. She even had like Seth printed on her trunks. I am not liking the fact that they're using the fact that Seth and Becky are in a relationship. Fuck off. Let them be happy. Just let them be happy, or you just gotta drive them apart. Just fuck off. There was a lot that actually went on this match, so let's run through some of the biggest spots. We saw so many chair spots. We saw so many kendo stick shots. One of the moments that I did like was when Seth and Becky were both repeatedly twatting Baron and Lacey with the kendo sticks in sync. They were just completely twatting them. I liked it. They also set up tables on the outside. They took a long time with those tables. That was a big issue for me. They literally took so long with those tables. They would eventually use them to put both Baron and Lacey through them by diving off the turnbuckle. So it had a lot of nice spots in this. One of the weirdest parts was when Corey went, "That's no ordinary table. That's a steel ramp." We just burst out laughing. We're like, "It's not even a fucking table. You literally just said it's a ramp." So obviously it's no ordinary table if it's not even a fucking table. Towards the end of the match, we did see Baron Corbin hitting the end of days onto Becky Lynch, which pissed off Seth. This was the one time I actually enjoyed the fact that they used them two being in a relationship, because it pissed off Seth, and then Seth just went to fucking town on Baron. Started whacking him with a kendo stick, started whacking him with a chair, hit him with a curb stomp. At this point, Lacey Evans had spotted it and she was fucking out of there. Then hit him with another curb stomp and then another curb stomp and picked up the 1-2-3 to retain both his Universal Championship and Becky Lynch's Raw Women's Championship. It was an enjoyable match. There were some spots where it was a bit like 50-50, but even Lacey Evans hit a couple of great spots in this match. She did this elbow drop from the apron, it was like a springboard elbow drop sort of thing. Thoroughly enjoyed that, and she hit this amazing moonsault off of the top rope. I want to see more of this with Lacey. But then it's what happened after the match. So after the match, we saw an angry Seth Rollins in the ring because he just beat down the person who'd hit his missus. I nearly said wife. The way WWE's been putting it, I mean, it is fucking like wife, and you're not. But aye, Brock Lesnar's music hit. Brock Lesnar comes down to the ring, starts beating on Seth Rollins, cashes in, and then hits him with an F5 and picks up the 1-2-3. Your new Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar. I think this is the one time I'm not too asked about seeing Brock Lesnar with the championship, because it had been building for a while. It was just a matter of when, not a matter of if. So now he's Universal Champion. So like I say, this full show, it was a really good show. Maybe one or two meh moments, but all in all, I'm actually really happy with it. When it comes to the forfeits, I lost. I think the score was like 12-11, and I am taking 10 kendo stick shots. We've added a little stipulation as well. Well, not a little stipulation, a little extra. Because I also have to do the world's hottest gummy bear, I will be doing, instead of doing the whole chew for a certain amount of minutes and then swallow and then you have to survive for like 5 minutes before you can drink, what we're going to do is I'm going to eat the gummy bear, and then I am not allowed to drink until after I've received the kendo stick shots, just to add that extra pain in there. So this should be fun. Expect that video Wednesday, maybe Thursday, depending on filming. But God, I'm gonna die. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's what happened at Extreme Rules. So, if you did like this video, don't forget to hit that like button. Peace.